So let's talk about the IPL. Started back in 2008 by a businessman named Lalit Modi. So he had this idea before with the 50 over format back in the early 90s when it was new and the new exciting thing. But eventually the BCCI rejected his idea and didn't see any value in his ideas. But eventually obviously they did accept in 2008 with the new league format at that time, T20 cricket. So the IPL first introduced 8 teams into the league. The 8 teams were called Royal Challengers Bangalore, Chennai Super Kings, Delhi Daredevils, Deccan Chargers, Rajasthan Royals, Kolkata Knight Riders, Kings 11 Punjab and Mumbai Indians. These 8 teams entered into the IPL, and the latter team, Mumbai Indians, being the most expensive at $111 million. The cheapest team at the time was Rajasthan Royals at $67 million. So the first match was between Royal Challengers Bangalore and Kolkata Knight Riders, which we saw history in the T20 league where Brendan McCullum became the first player to score over 150 runs with 158 not out in a single innings, which was big at the time for the IPL, considering it was the first match, and seeing history obviously boosted their audience more. So now moving on to 2008, Rajasthan Royals became the first winners of the IPL, and they were the cheapest team to be bought. So it's not like that. It's not like the cheapest team means they're your worst team, with Shane Warne captaining them to victory. In the second season it was won by Deccan Chargers, and if you're wondering where it's based in Hyderabad. It just doesn't have a name for some reason. And the third team to win it in 2010 were Chennai Super Kings. So obviously moving on to 2011, 2 new teams entered into the sport. The 2 new teams were named Kochi Tusker Kerala and Pune Warriors India. The first team that are named, the KTK, only lasted 1 year before they were disbanded after they didn't pay their 10% bank interest and there was disputes between owners of ownership. And the latter team, Pune Warriors India, only lasted 3 years after they were disbanded because of, again, money disputes. But this money disputes was different compared to the KTK in terms of there being money disputes for how much they should be paid for each year, so they disbanded after that too. So it was back to 8 teams. Even though it was that reason that was stated, I think the other reason was that they did poorly. They were only, I think their highest finish was 8th in the 3 seasons they were in the IPL. And then they had players like Yuvraj Singh, Robin Uthappa at the time, he was their leading run scorer. Obviously he is now too. They had young Steve Smith. Obviously if you follow cricket, you know Steve Smith has become important to the Australian team, even though he had that past thing. Yeah, I think most cricket fans know about that past. They had a young Bhuvanesh Kumar, if you know him. He's a bowler, now plays for Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think the most memorable part of Pune Warriors, if you followed them back in the early IPL era, you'll understand that it was probably Chris Gayle. If you know, he scored 175 runs against them. That was probably their most memorable moments being in the sport. Also in 2013, Deccan Chargers sold their team, so they were renamed to Sunrisers Hyderabad. They were doing well, obviously winning the 2009 IPL, but after 2010 they fell off. 2011 they didn't do well, they were in bottom half, and 2012 they were in the bottom half, and then they might have thought it might be better just to sell the team, considering they were not doing that well. So after this, the teams that actually did win the IPL were Chennai Super Kings again in 2011, so they've won it 2 times in a row, the first team to do so. In 2012 it was KKR, and 2013 Mumbai Indians. And I'm not going to mention 2014, nothing really happened in 2014. So in 2014 KKR won the league. So in 2015 there were 2 big things that happened in the IPL. In terms of, the first big thing happened was that one record was smashed in terms of the most expensive player in IPL basically, and it was done by the Delhi Daredevils. I think 16 crores Yuvraj Singh was bought at, being the most expensive player at the time. And also in 2015 we saw some controversy between the two big teams who have won the IPL, in terms of the first big team, Rajasthan Royals, and the team that has won 2 consecutive titles in Chennai Super Kings. Match betting allegations and match fixing allegations were made and proven correct. The 2 co-owners of each team were basically suspended. Also, the 2 bowlers that were reprimanded were Shashanth, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these 2 names right, Shashanth and Anakit, I think it is. Sorry if I'm butchering these names, but were banned for life basically, after they were taking money for getting minimum runs. Later though, Shashanth was unbanned while lasting for 7 years, and now he's allowed to play cricket now, and I think he plays cricket now in the, not in the IPL, but in the lower team Indian League thing, the Ranji Trophy I think it is. So, what were the punishment for CSK and Rajasthan Royals? The punishments were that they were banned for 2 seasons. So, they would only have 6 teams in the IPL, which the IPL didn't want and the BCCI didn't want. So what they did was they entered 2 new teams into the sport, the Gujarat Lions and Rising Bunny Supergiants, and I would remember the Rising Bunny Supergiants for later. But those 2 new teams entered into the sport. So both teams did have good moments and bad moments, in terms of, in one season, the Gujarat Lions in 2016 did well, being in the top 2, and Rising Bunny Supergiants doing bad, being in the bottom 2, and then Rising Bunny Supergiants doing well, being in the top 2 in 2017, but Gujarat Lions being bad in 2017, being in the bottom 2, which is kind of weird, but there's both teams doing well and bad each season. So before moving on to 2018, you probably want to know who won the 2014, and it was KKR. 2015 Mumbai Indians. 2016 it was won by Sunrisers Hyderabad, so Gujarat Lions didn't get there. And 2017 Mumbai Indians won it, even though Rising Bunny Supergiants did well that season too. So now moving on to 2018, and 2 new teams, obviously those 2 teams left the sport, Rising Bunny Supergiants and Gujarat Lions. They only had deals for 2 seasons, and then so 2 old teams entered the sport back, in Chennai Super Kings and Rajasthan Royals, and they did well, finishing 2nd and 4th respectively, and finishing in the qualifiers in that season. And eventually CSK winning the league in 2018 too. So the first season being back in the league, they started their dominance again. So now before we move on to 2021, I wanted to mention the other people that won the league. And in 2019 it was won by Mumbai Indians, 2020 Mumbai Indians, and 2021 Chennai Super Kings. So Mumbai Indians also doing that feat of winning 2 years in a row basically. And also in 2019 Delhi Daredevils changed their names to Delhi Capitals. So in 2021 we saw a record being beaten, the Yuvraj Singh record of 16 crores by Chris Morris, by 25 lakhs, which is equivalent to like $1.625 million. So in 2022 we saw the league have a crack at it again, in terms of entering new teams into the sport. The 2 new teams were Gujarat Titans, and remember when I said to remember Rising Bunny Supergiants, because the Lucknow Supergiants entered the sport. The same owner bought the team. So Lucknow was bought for £709 million, and Gujarat Lions was bought for £562 million. So in the first season of Gujarat Titans entering the sport, you think it would be a learning stage? No, they just went on to win the league. Do you know how mental that is? The first season in the IPL, with all these teams already having a foundation, and Gujarat Titans winning it. When I looked at their team before, when I was like watching the IPL at the time in 2022, I looked at them and I thought, the better team out of the 2 new teams were Lucknow Supergiants, not Gujarat Titans. But they proved me wrong, and I was heavily wrong. So now moving on to 2023, And another, basically, record was broken of Chris Morris's record. It only lasted for 2 seasons after Punjab Kings, now named, bought Sam Curran for 18.5 crores, which you might know, you just divide it by 10 and that's really pounds. That's how I do it anyway. And then the very next season, in 2024, Mitchell Starc became the most expensive player at 24.75 crores, which if you watch the IPL, I don't think he lived up to it. So the 2 teams that did win the IPL in 2023 and 2024 were CSK in 2023 and in 2024. If many of you have watched it, it was KKR. So 3 teams being in the IPL from the start and from the end have never won it. Delhi Capitals, Punjab Kings and Royal Challengers Bangalore. So the individual trophies, basically, the highest run scorer was Virat Kohli with 973 runs done in 2016 when RCB finished second. The most wickets taken were done by 2 people in Dwayne Bravo, if you know DJ Bravo song, and Harshal Patel for RCB with 32 wickets each. So the highest runs scored ever in the IPL was done by Virat Kohli with 8,004 runs. The most wickets taken ever were done by Yuzvendra Chahal with 205 runs, and we can see these both be extended by them still playing in the IPL. And I nearly forgot to say, Pakistan players were not allowed to play in the IPL. They were allowed to play in 2008, but now they're not because of Indian dispute with Pakistan. So now I'll add the IPL qualifiers for you to see. Basically it's self-explanatory while I'm talking about what I'm talking about next. So that's basically it. I don't think I've gotten anything else. If I have, let me know. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll get this out in a few days time. So hopefully I can do more videos like this with maybe like football or with any other league you want me to do. Let me know in the comments and I'll do that. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Maybe next week I'll make another video. But yeah, that's it for now. Hopefully you've liked this, and let me know what you want me to do better and what you want me to do next time, and I'll see you then.